Hello guys, it's me. I wanted to hop on here really quick and make a video. I had a poll I want to really quickly address. I'm going to make every video that I had suggested in the poll because I think they're all important topics to talk about. I also want to make one other video just touching on how serious this coronavirus really is and ways that we could, as a community, do better and help out, and maybe make sure that especially our elderly and people with diseases, people who are immune deficient, could be safe, and how we can help them out. I know I worded that all messy, but it is what it is. So I want to make a video about that as well, because it's heavy on my mind and everybody's minds and hearts, and how we should really be safe. I'm staying indoors, other than once a week I have to go out and get food for the animals, just because that is, there's inevitably things that I need to do for the animal rescue. And then I've gotten at least 2 weeks, if not closer to a month, worth of food for my family and I. So we're really isolating and doing well and staying safe and away from unneeded exposure. But today is the day that I had to go out. I also had to go and sign some paperwork so I could do online sessions with a counselor instead of going in person because of everything going on. So I wanted to update everybody. I'm going to do a video very soon about what's going on with my ex and everything about the two I can't talk today. The 2 eating videos I want to do as well. I think I'm going to combine them. I'm going to do an eating video where I address how I eat healthy with having an eating disorder or issues with food, and how I also and then also eating on camera is really scary for me, or in public I should say. So I'm going to work on that too. So thank you guys. But anyway, the votes are in from Facebook, at least, or from Facebook, Instagram, and on YouTube. YouTube wanted me to talk about my gender identity and sexuality. And then Instagram, so far what I got was they wanted me to talk about how to eat well with the eating disorder, and how I learned to eat healthy with an eating disorder, I should say. And then Facebook, I haven't really gotten a whole lot of clarity on yet, but it was about 63% of people wanted me to talk about sexuality and gender identity. So I'm going to get started and talk about that right now. I wanted to at least give an intro to say I'm going to make all of the other videos, if not today, this week. And I am going to make a video just on some tips to stay safe right now, so you guys can really just live your best life during such a panicked and hard time. So with that being said, let's jump into this. Whew, okay, so I physically, like, my sex, not my gender, my sex is female. I have female parts. I have, a pussy and tits, to be blunt, not monetizing any of these, so no point to not say it. But, I have female parts. I've got a chest, I've got whatever. I feel like I like being with, I like being in this body, because I feel like when I was growing up, it was very unaccepted to not have everything match in a box, gender A or gender B, male or female, whatever. It wasn't accepted to have something different. That being said, I was born in a female body. My sex is female. My gender identity, I feel like mentally I have the mind of a male, and I'll get into that more. I like, when I date a man, I like to be a submissive. I like to please them. I like, in the BDSM world, being submissive and having the man be my dominant. And in a way, I know that would be hard to understand for some people, but I like to be what I would want out of a female for these people, and that's one of the areas I love. I can be in that submissive role and look at them as my superior, or as my, not superior, but as kind of someone to guide me and someone I want to please, somebody I look up to, and really just respect as a person. I really, really love that. I love the headspace. I love being able to just let loose and be free and really be happy. And I love being a submissive when I'm with a male. That being said, when I'm with a female, I couldn't be submissive. I like being the male role. I like to be the dominant one, and I just don't like to be the feminine role ever with a female. I like to date women. I like to be with women, and when I date them, I'm always the one who I take on the natural role of the man. And to go back even further, when my mother was pregnant with me, it was right when ultrasound machines first started coming out. And they actually told her that I was male because they were looking at the way my brain is shaped. And my brain is shaped to this day, from my knowledge. It is shaped in a way that made it look male. And I was born clearly with all female parts and all of that loveliness, so whatever. And like I said, when I was little, when I would play, to kind of keep going off that, when I was little and I would play games, I always liked to play with the boys, and I always liked to roughhouse and stuff. I never was the Barbie kid. I always would, if I had Barbies, I'd give them all short haircuts and dye their hair crazy colors. I liked playing with horses. I loved Spider-Man and superheroes, and I loved wrestling back in the day when I was little. It was bigger back then than it is now, or a bigger deal, I should say. I loved, once I got a little bit older, like young teen, I loved like MMA. I loved working out. I worked at a sports and fitness store when I was young. Like, I've just always been the very active, very, in that lifestyle type person. So I did BMX with my bike, nothing professional or anything, but just for fun. I don't know. I just always was boyish in that way. And I do think, like, when I talk to my guy friends on a guy-to-guy level, like, they always say, God, you're such a guy. Like, mentally, the way you talk, the way you articulate, the way you see things, that is how I see things. That being said, I have accepted, because I like men and women, we'll get into the sexuality part of it. I like men and women, so I'm okay with my body being what it is, as long as people give me the respect that I don't necessarily think in the most feminine way. You don't have to totally understand it or love it, and I don't see myself as somebody where I would have to be, the male role no matter who I'm with. But I just want the respect of somebody understanding that I don't fit into the feminine line of thinking, I guess. Not that all women are feminine, but I hear people that talk about being gender fluid or agender, and they talk about feeling things that females feel and feeling things that males feel. And for me, that's not true. I don't feel things that females feel. I don't relate to that. And when people talk to me about that, it's one of those things that I can't relate to. I know it doesn't make full sense or anything, but I just have a really hard time dealing with people who assume that, oh, well, because you have a female's body, you 100% could relate to both ends of everything. That's just not what it is or how it is at all for me. I don't relate to the female side of things. I don't think like that at all. My female friends, a lot of times I don't relate to the way they think. I can understand it, but it's just not how I think. Even my family, my grandmother who raised me, even, she always says, like, you clearly just don't have a female's mindset. You just don't. And that's okay. There's a lot of men who have male mindsets that are in a homosexual relationship and they're a bottom. And that's okay. So I've kind of learned to embrace my body and my sexuality because of that. I don't want to change my body anymore, but I used to. And that wasn't okay when I was growing up. I'm a pushing 30 person, and back then it wasn't okay at all. It just was seen as wrong. And I'm so glad we're in a society now where we realize not everybody is a cookie cutter of, we're not all cookie cutters one way or the other. Because I can get pleasure from sex being a bottom when I'm with a male and being a top when I'm with a female, I am okay with staying in this body. And I feel like I love the way, a female's body looks. And I can understand why men look at me the way they do when I'm a submissive and with a man. And that's how I cope with it. And that's how I deal with it. That's how I enjoy being in that light. For me, I used to be super uncomfortable, and I just felt like, no one could look at me and see me for me because they were seeing a female. And I very quickly turned that into, I wanted to look like what I thought, what I wanted in a girl, or what I thought a man would want in me. So I grew my hair out really long, and I would, dress very girly and very provocatively, and I felt like I was in a foreign body. But I almost loved knowing that I was pleasing a guy in the way that I would want to be pleased, essentially, or what I would find appealing or pleasing. And I appreciated it for that. And then as I got older, I realized that I need to just embrace myself, and that I'm never ever going to want to change fully. And one of the things that helped me is when I had my oldest daughter, Riley Marie, when I was pregnant, that my body I felt so close to her, but I felt so foreign because I felt like I shouldn't be carrying a child, and my body reacts to pregnancy in that way too, where it's very bad reaction. I have a negative blood type, and my body doesn't do well with being pregnant, with dealing with pregnancies, especially with my second daughter. I've got 2 little girls. With my second daughter, Reagan, as I've said in many videos, I had preeclampsia so bad that it nearly killed me, and my skin was literally swelling and ripping apart, and it was crazy. So my body just reacts like it's foreign, and it felt foreign. And I love my daughters, are the best thing in the world, but being somebody who feels mentally they're male and having a pregnant body was the most difficult thing I've ever had to go through. And I felt so depressed, and the way people were looking at me felt so wrong because it was everything I felt like I wasn't and felt like I am not. And going through that made me see that it should be okay to think differently, but not want to go through the social stigmas of changing your whole body. It should be okay to say, hey, I think like a male, but I can get pleasure through things in this body, and I can look like a female and just think different. And that was something that I know, I'm sure this video is going to get a lot of hate, because I get it's a very big deal for people to transition and to go and have their head match their body, and a lot of people can't just accept that they were put in the wrong body. But I can. I've never taken testosterone, I've never taken estrogen, I've never done anything to alter my sexuality. My body is 100% female, my mind isn't, and it's okay to be like that, because I can date men and women and be happy. And something that I found out in my later life is I can date gay men if they take the female role with me. And that's something I'm fine with. I can be the male role with a gay man if they can realize that my mind isn't female. And that leads me into the sexuality part of it. I would see myself as bisexual, but I feel like there's pansexual and there's bisexual. I feel like I'm more bisexual than pansexual, but I could understand why people would think I'm pansexual. I can accept people of any gender, and I can accept people who are transgender. I think it's a beautiful community and world, and it's not a choice, it's how people are born. That all being said, for my personal attraction, when I'm with a male, excluding gay males that like to be in a feminine mindset and like to role play in very feminine ways. So just excluding that, when I'm with a male, I like to be in that complete submissive role. And when I'm with a female, I cannot be submissive at all. And because of that, I genuinely normally go to men or women and not somebody on the spectrum. I have dated a transgender female to male once before. It was a long distance relationship when I was underage and really young and didn't know that in advance. But we never met in person. He was a really nice person, and that was that. And I've known people who are transgender, and I really do support that. I don't see myself as transgender because I've never transitioned in any way. And that's literally what it is. It's transitioning to your true gender, essentially. I am not. I just am sexually, my sex is female, and my mentality is male. And that's that. And I've learned, because I'm attracted to female bodies, I've learned how to accept my body as it's a vessel that we're in. And as much as I know, when I was younger, I felt trapped and like I was in this wrong body, and I just wanted to hide and not let anybody see me because they weren't seeing me for me and my heart. And then I realized that it's just skin deep. My mind, people can get to know my mind, and it shouldn't matter what I look like, because isn't that the point of equality and being seen as an equal, as a human being? It shouldn't be what our skin color is or what gender we are. It should just be getting to know that individual person. And if I can be attracted to this type of body and this type of look, then why can't I accept myself in that? And I get a lot of people couldn't. It's not for everybody, but I embraced it, and it's freeing to embrace that. And I think it's kind of awesome because I get a really different insight. I get to kind of hear what and how women think from like my women friends and my female friends, whatever you want to say about them. I get to see how they think and learn about that, and I can actually kind of talk to my guy friends and help them understand women, because they talk more openly with me because my sex is female. And then I can kind of tell, I don't think like that naturally, so I can kind of explain it to my male friends, my guy friends who think like me. But yeah, so I would say in general, my sexuality is bisexual, but if the perfect person for me was a transgender person, I would be open to it. But in general, I am mainly attracted to men and women. And as far as myself, I think that I am mentally a really awesome guy. And I think that physically, I'm somebody who takes care of my body and takes care of myself. And as my sex, I'm very happy with being the female that I am, who's got 2 really wonderful daughters and who works hard and eats healthy and is actually doing what's right for my mind and body now. And I think that it's taken a really long time to get here, but I really am so thankful that I am here and that I can accept myself. And to anybody out there who can't accept themselves or who thinks it's not okay to maybe not fit in a certain bubble, I understand there's so many different things out there. There are people who don't quite know where they are, and they feel like they don't fit in one box or another, and that's okay. It's taken me a long time to learn how to accept myself and how to be comfortable with myself and how to love myself and my body, and especially, like I said, through changes, through preeclampsia making me gain 100 pounds that I had no control over. I wasn't eating. It didn't matter. It was crazy. And then losing all of that, or almost all of that, and having injuries from my ex they've scarred me. I mean, that was really hard, to already feel like you're in the wrong body, and then to have that body be scarred and be changed is detrimentally heartbreaking, and it was horrible. but learning to accept that and live with that and cope with that and embracing it and actually being like, hey, my sex is female. That's what body they put my mind into. This is just a vessel. We were just put into that body, essentially. And that's okay. You know what? I'm going to do the best I can with this body that I was given. I'm going to rock it, and that's what it's going to be. And I love it. That's fine. That's great. And I'm just going to live the best life I can with that. I'm not going to hide behind a haircut anymore. I'm not going to give in to the social stigmas of the world. I'm going to embrace myself. I'm somebody who, even if you don't agree with me and don't agree with what I say and what I feel, that's okay. I'm me. You know, I'm a pushing 30 vegan who loves animals and spends most of my time drawing and writing and studying and working out, playing with my kids, just living my life the way it is. And I love helping people, and I love being honest and transparent and not hiding things and not hiding who I am, because without honesty, we're not our true selves. So I just wanted to actually make this video. I want to make every video that I talked about, but I really wanted to make this video so I could really put it out there and let you guys know it's okay to not fit in. Don't let anybody tell you that being you is wrong, and try to learn how to accept what you were given, essentially, what you were given to work with, whether you decide to transition with that or not. If you're somebody who feels like your mind doesn't match your body, that's your choice. You know, you have your body to work with and do with it what you want. This is what worked for me. I don't want to alter it, but I did other things to make me feel better, like get the tattoos that tell, you know, my life story, essentially, and get, you know, I really hit the gym hard again, and, you know, it's taken a lot of work because of the amount of scarring and damage that happened from my ex and the preeclampsia, but I'm really proud of the progress I've been making and how I've been working, and I think that that's wonderful, and that's enough for me. I'm fine with it. I'm fine with being a mismatch. Not everybody is, and don't let anybody put you down if you're not okay with it, and don't let anybody judge you if you are okay with it. It's your body, it's your life, it's your right to do with it what you please, as long as you're not hurting anybody else, and as long as you're not bashing anybody else and making their lives worse or endangering people, then you're doing the right thing for you. Know that I'm here, I'm not going to judge you, and that there are a lot of people out there that are good people that they're not going to judge you or put you down just because of something like a social stigma. So I'm going to wrap this video up here, and just know I will get out, if you're still here, thank you. I will get out all the other videos, like I said, but I wanted to get this one up really quickly. I love you guys. Thank you. And hey, be true to yourself. Don't change just because you feel like the world doesn't see you for you. Because one day you'll realize that maybe not everybody is going to accept you, but the people that know the real you and accept you for that, those are the people you want in your life. I love you guys.